Today's presentation is part 1 of my current project about using RPi0-2W and OpenCM904. For today's presentation, I would like to report about my experience in installing 64-bit OS on the RPi0-2W and about mounting some ROBOTIS USB devices onto the system. So I'm going to try to show you my result when I try to install Buster 64-bit OS on the RPi0-2W, and then I'm just going to use DMESG to check on how various ROBOTIS USB devices hook up to the RPi0-2W. So I followed the instruction listed in this website here. And in full disclosure, I did try to boot this RPiW using an SD that I made for RPi4B, and that didn't work at all. But I did want to try because I had to create lots of software onto the SD for the RPi4B for the previous project. So I thought maybe I can reuse it, but no chance there. So you follow the instruction here. You say you have to create a new SD image of the last RASPI Buster 64 image. It's from May 7, 2021, and then from there, once you create the image, you have to go into the boot folder and create a device tree block for the RPi0-2 because it doesn't exist from the device tree block for an RPi3B. So all that instruction is listed here. So once you've done that, you can boot the RPi0-2W on this updated SD image, and it worked very well. It boot right into the RPi desktop, okay. And then you remember the welcome to Raspberry Pi application come up, and then you enter password, locale, and your Wi-Fi network connection and all of that. Eventually you're going to get to the update software step, and at that time their instruction is to do manual updates. So you have to put skip, get out of it, and then do some manual update per instruction on there on that website. And I did that twice, but I always get stuck at a certain place almost at the end. So on my third attempt, I said, well, I got nothing to lose here. So I'm going to try and click on next, basically let the RPi software updater do its job on its own. So I was watching, and 15-20 minutes later, they did go to git step. So everything they installed okay. So essentially, when you've done step 1 and 2, you just let the Raspberry Pi updater work its magic, I guess. So it's pretty much a regular, ordinary installation of the OS onto the RPi0-2W for me using the last Buster 64-bit OS. Okay. So as soon as you finish that, I check memory, free memory. I use a 32 gig SD, so I got plenty of room left, no problem there. But you see, it's free memory kind of tight. Okay, and officially the Linux version on the RPi2W for me is this one. This looks dated October 6, 2021, and I installed this one on November 24, 2021. Okay. So once that is rebooted okay, I go to RASPI config, and for my situation, I'm trying to get as much memory as possible, so run out my other code. So I only enable camera, BNC, and serial port. GPU memory, I stick at 64 kilobyte only, as small as possible. And when all that is done, the memory is like this now. So things are pretty tight. And then I install code block, and it will install okay, and it come up, seems fine. So before code block is in memory, this is the memory used. After code block is in memory, then that is how to use. But you can see it's using swap and memory, so I think kind of interesting. That's the OS does its job here. But you look like I got some more memory maybe. Okay, so we'll see. In headless mode, the BNC resolution that gave me maximum was this one. It won't let me bulge and set up anything else. Okay, so it is smaller than the previous when I used RPi4B at 8 GB. So I have a bigger screen to work with. Once everything installed, if you go back to the SD card and look at the boot folder, it got interesting. All the DTB dated to the date when I update, I create this SD card, or when it's updated properly. And the RPi0-2W dated April. Okay. So I have this hardware that's set up. I have my RPi0-2W here. I have a USB hub. I hook up a BT-410 dongle. I hook up an LL101. I hook up a U2D2. I also hook up a plain USB cable to an OpenCM904.C here with 485AXP. Okay, so everything powered up. So if you DMESG BT-410, it's just because the way I order, I plug them in. BT-410 dongle set up as a TTY USB 0. LN101 also another TTY USB device. U2D2 also another TTY USB. And the plain cable going to USB port on the OpenCM904 turned out to be TTY ACM 0. So everything so far looks pretty much like how the RPi4B worked with the CM550. So that's a good good news in a way. So all my previous code, maybe I can just use them again. The upcoming conversion project for me is this. So this is the A4WP.H robot is using RPi4B and CM550. And it was fine, but as you can see, it's pretty busy up there. I'm trying to see if I can reduce some of the component down by using RPi0-2W and OpenCM904. Maybe I need to use it, maybe I won't. Maybe everything can be controlled from the RPi0-2W. There's some new X3P hub that I can use. I can use a U2D2. I can use an old SMP 2 dynamic cell to provide power. So there's some option on trying to reduce the bulkiness of all the components here. And I know that I'm going to get ahead in the performance area because there's the RPi0-2W is just half of an RPi4B performance-wise. But we'll see if it can reduce the size of the controlling aspect of this robot because it didn't have much of a footprint. So we'll see.